Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen Workshop. It is June 1st, 2023. It is 6:30 p.m. I will have the prayer on Tuesday evening. The Pledge of Allegiance will be with Alderwoman Haas. You should all have a copy of the minutes from the May 2nd regular meeting, the May 8th public hearing, and the May 8th special meeting. Then next we're going to move on to the presentations. We're going to go in a little bit different order. And Chief Hatcher.
Mayor, Alderman, guests, thank you for being here. If I could get Lieutenant Detective David Durham to come forward, Peter Pimachek, and Detective Joe Timpson. I'm just going to set these here for just a minute, sir. I'm going to go ahead and read this to everyone until everybody gets in a position of uncomfortness. On the morning of April 19, 2023, deceased Lieutenant Robert Hayes' patrol unit was parked in the grass next to CID building in memorial of his passing. The vehicle was decorated with flowers that were provided by members of the Laverne Police Department, City Hall, and private citizens. At approximately 8 p.m., employees coming to work observed two individuals standing next to Lieutenant Hayes' patrol unit. While standing next to the patrol unit, they were seen taking flowers off of the patrol car. The flowers were put into a black sedan, and the individuals left the area. Once it was realized that a crime had been committed, members of the Laverne Police Department Criminal Investigations Division immediately began searching for information about this car. Video footage was obtained, and with the assistance of Peter Pimachek from our RT department, a search through the ALPR system, also known as the Blue Sentinel, captured the vehicle and the license plate. Detective Lieutenant David Durham put Detective Joe Timpson on this case, and by 2 p.m. on the same day, investigators with the support from the Patrol Division made an arrest in this matter. One of the two individuals was an adult and was accompanied by a teenage relative. The dedicated work and efforts of these members of the Laverne Police Department merit being acknowledged and rewarded. The abhorrent actions of the individuals who thought taking flower arrangements from a patrol car being memorialized for the passing of one of our LPD family was not and will never be tolerated in our community. For your swift action in bringing criminals to justice on April 19, 2023, and for your dedication and service not only to the memory of Lieutenant Robert Hayes and his family, but to the city of Laverne and the entire community. Thank you. I will give each of you a handshake, and then I will present your award. This is an example of the work that Laverne does. Every single member of this department, every single member of the department's community, all the firemen, all of the civilian employees, they all care about this community. And this is the one time that we have an opportunity to acknowledge it for us, especially under dark circumstances that we've had. And I'm very, very honored to be the one that get to do that. Thank you.
Chief Beasley.
Looks like tonight's a night of good news and a celebration for accomplishments and actions. Tonight we're going to pin badge on Lieutenant Will Abernathy. He has recently undergone a significant, I would think you would consider a significant interview process, competitive process to where he came out at the top of the list, and he will be promoted to the rank of Fire Lieutenant tonight. Well, Kelsey? His wife, Kelsey, will be doing the honors of pinning the badge.
If you don't draw blood, you're not doing it right.
There we go.
Move on to the summer reading program with the Laverne Library. Miss Donna?
You actually got me choked up.
Oh, here she comes.
Now, Miss Donna, now?
Here she comes.
Not yet.
Give them toys and what happens?
Good evening, Mayor, Aldermen, and Vice Mayor, and everyone here and everyone at home. I really appreciate that the library has the opportunity to talk about our upcoming kickoff, which is going to be happening this Saturday. So Bruce and the mayor gave me permission to come up at workshop and talk a little bit about what's going to be happening on Saturday, and that is Saturday, June the 3rd. Our summer reading theme this year is All Together Now. A little bit difficult to decorate for. Last year was Oceans of Possibilities. We've had Library Rock. You remember Joan Jett came and visited. So, and we've had, science, and the mad scientists came. And so tonight, what I thought we could do, since it's all together now, we have a group of special people who live at the library, who help our children learn letters and sounds. And so tonight, I would like to present the letter people. Would the letter people all rise? There they are. We have letter people all over. So all together now, oh, here comes another letter person. There we are, Miss A. There she is. Okay, so by themselves, let's say the alphabet very quickly. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. By themselves, some of them will make a word like A, I, but together they can make a lot of words. So all together, they can make so many words like kind, K-I-N-D.
It's already been
I see K. There we go, I-N-D. And how about care? C-A-R-E. Wonderful. What's another word that you think about that talks about our community? So we have kind, care.
Love.
Love, that's great. So we have L-O-V-E.
Right.
So together, we can make all of these wonderful words, and together we can make a lot of great things happen in the community. So thank you, letter people, for joining us tonight. I'll wave to you all. And thank you to my friends who helped out with the letter people. So I think they're pretty awesome. So summer reading all together now. We're going to start on Saturday with our kickoff. Let's see, did I turn it on? Let's try it again.
Up.
Up.
There we go. Yep. Click the other side.
Glenn, can you
Other
help?
side. All right.
I'll do it for you.
Okay, Glenn, next slide.
There you go.
So this is Saturday. All together now, it's our 2023 Summer Reading Program kickoff event at Laverne Public Library. It's June the 3rd. It's going to be from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Now, that's just the very beginning, because our summer reading goes from June 3rd all the way through July 15th. 6 full weeks of great programming. On Saturday, we're going to have mermaids, a bounce house, an inflatable slide. Go back, please. Oh. You got excited? Bounce house, inflatable slide, face painting. We're going to have hot dogs and chips while supplies last, games, and so much more. One of the highlights that everyone knows now is our mermaids. The Laverne Public Library will have 2 beautiful mermaids from Got Mermaid at our 2023 Summer Reading Kickoff. So children and parents can come out and have their picture made with the mermaids, which is always so much fun. All right, next slide. This is like the first week of our summer reading. We're really excited that we're going to have a firefighter story time. You get to meet local firefighters and see their truck and their equipment. We really appreciate working with the Laverne Fire Department, Fire Rescue Department, and we're going to have 2. It's going to be June 5th, and then at the end, July 15th, and those are at 10 a.m. We'll start in the Storytime room, and we'll end up in the parking lot. Next slide. Sidewalk Chalk Family Fun. Each Monday afternoon at 1 p.m., we're going to try to do some family activities. This will be a lot of fun. We have lots of sidewalks around there. We'll be putting up tents to help cover and give a little shade, because at 1 p.m. it's pretty hot. And we'll have water and snacks, so it'll be a great time. Next slide. Kids Crafternoon. This is a continuation of what we do throughout the year. Usually we do it once a month. Miss Becky is going to be doing it once a week. So every Tuesday at 5 p.m., we're going to have Kids Crafternoon. Our first one will be build a mosaic earth, decorate a flower pot, and plant your own seedling. Something we can do all together. A new program this year. We have, Danny has joined us at the library, and Danny Anderson, not the Danny, he would like to.
He was looking around.
Danny has had success with Dungeons and Dragons, a game that uses dice. So we're going to be starting that. He's going to have 2 different groups. One will be teens, which is ages 13 to 17, and the other one will be tweens, which will be younger than 13. And that's going to be, the teens will be the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays, and the tweens will be the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays. Did I say Thursday? Tuesdays. Okay, next slide. Of course, Bruce Amato. Good old Bruce is going to be back with us. He is our first entertainment of the summer reading. Magical entertainer Bruce Amato at the Laverne Public Library, June the 7th at 10 a.m. Most of our entertainers are going to be coming on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Next slide. We're going to continue with 2 story times throughout the summer, both of them on Thursday. The first one is Books and Babies All Together Now, and that will be birth to 24 months. Miss Sherry does a magnificent job with this group. It's a lap sit program with rhymes and singing and puppets and lots and lots of fun. So that's a great program. It will be every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Next slide. Same thing on Thursday, except at night. This will be at 6 o'clock. It's a family story time all together now. Danny has taken over our nighttime program. It's a high energy nighttime program. You know, it used to be jammies and stories with Miss Janice, And now it's like rock and roll and roar with Mr. Danny, but the families love it. It's a good time for all ages to come out. Next slide. Okay, so that's just a glimpse at our first week. If you will notice, I've put on the table for you our handout, and I'll leave some up front. We have 3 full pages of activities for ages 0 all the way up to 99. So we would like for you to join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Come dressed for the heat. We'll be doing some activities outside and some inside. And our picnic with the hot dogs will be inside. We will do that in the meeting room. We will have tables set up for the parents, and then we'll have quilts on the floor for the children and a movie going. So it will be a fun time. And I forgot to say, Miss Lorna would like for all the children to decorate their own cookie for the dessert. So lots of fun stuff. Any questions?
Sounds like an awful lot of fun over there.
It should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Donna. Then we'll have departmental reports. Moving on to old business, first reading ordinance 2023-10, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 14, parcel 23.2, consisting of approximately 5 acres located at 252 Hollandale Road, from an R1 low-density residential zoning district to an R2 medium-density residential zoning district. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on March 28th, 2023. A public hearing will be held Tuesday evening for this. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to second reading, ordinance 2023-11, an ordinance of the City of Laverne, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, June 6th for this item. Does anyone have any questions? Second reading, ordinance 2023-12, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 general fund budget. And this is just the general fund. It's additional costs for 3 items, about $45,000. Does anyone have any questions? Second reading, ordinance 2023-13, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 stormwater fund budget. And this is for the architectural and engineering design services for the new Public Works and Community Development Services facility. And this is $220,000. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we have the consent agenda. We've got first, approve or reject city bids and purchases. The first one is to ratify an emergency purchase of replacement pumps and an external bypass pump for the interstate sewer pump station. This is a unique one. Total cost of it for the emergency purchase was $26,059.11. This was the interstate sewer pump, and basically we had issues with both pumps, and so we had to order in some emergency parts. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we have approved the renewal of the property and crime liability and workers' compensation insurance package for the fiscal year 2023-2024 with Public Entity Partners. And this is our annual renewal with them, and we just got all of the rates in today. Is that not right, Bruce?
Yes, sir, this afternoon.
So you should see all of that right in front of you. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we have approved change order number 3 of the Industrial Boulevard Sewer Project. This is change order is $6,550, and this is in regards to the project Isengard is working on over by BJ's Wholesale. Does anyone have any questions? D, approve supplement number 2 to the railroad agreement with TDOT for the Stones River Road railroad crossing improvements. And this is basically just amending that. The materials costs, it's the increase for that. So the original contract amount was $112,592. So our portion didn't change the contract, but the state's did increase. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we have ratify the approval of a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation for 3 non-collaborative drinking water projects for the Water Infrastructure Investment Plan using the State of Tennessee American Rescue Plan fiscal recovery funds. And so this is just ratifying this grant contract. Does anyone have any questions? Total grant amount is $3,494,124.73. The city's portion of that is just over $1 million. Any questions? Next, we have approved change order number 1, Johnson & Bailey Architects. This is for the new fire station 41. This is the type of change order we love to see,
No doubt.
because it is a reduction of $107,416.28. Does anyone have any questions? Ronnie, if you can keep bringing us those, we'd appreciate it.
We'll work on it.
Next up, we have the approved annual contract with TDOT for the maintenance of Murfreesboro Road. Again, this is our annual contract with them. The city will receive from this, the maximum we can receive is $29,564.46. And this is typically mowing, trash pickup, that sort of thing along Murfreesboro Road. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on. New business, first reading ordinance. An ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 17E, Group B, parcel 22, consisting of approximately 1.16 acres located at 392 Old Nashville Highway, from an R1 low-density residential zoning district to a C3 neighborhood service business district. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on April 25th, 2023. And again, this will have a public hearing Tuesday night. Does anyone have any questions about this? Okay, moving on to first reading ordinance 2023-15, an ordinance to amend the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the order of business and public comment periods at meetings. This is to, basically the state of Tennessee passed a new law about public comment periods before meetings, and that's not just looking at city council meetings, that's looking at like stormwater, at planning commission meetings, and so this is essentially updating our municipal code to reflect that change. Does anyone have questions?
It's got nothing to do with the 3 minutes and all of that.
No, this isn't changing the 3-minute rules. It's just
Correct. There are still the same restrictions we have in place now for the citizens forum. This just puts it inside the meeting instead of a separate session for the citizens forum. It puts a public comment period in the actual meeting.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Next item, Resolution 2023-13, a resolution of the City of Laverne to appropriate funds to nonprofit organizations for the fiscal year 2023-2024 fiscal year. This is tied to the budget, and this is just the appropriations for the nonprofits as listed in the budget. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we've got Resolution 2023-14, a resolution to amend the employee handbook. I'm going to ask our HR director, Mr. Andrew Patton, to come up and go through that with the board since we all just received these.
Good evening, Board. I want to have my objection noted that I'm following Miss Donna at the library in her presentation. Nobody should have to follow Miss Donna with her letter people. I think the new handbook should be narrated and artwork done by your team as well. So,
If you'd like to use puppets, there's some right behind you.
I'm told there's lots of puppets around. They may come out, who knows? I want to remind my colleagues that this is a public meeting and to keep the letters appropriate. So we did a major handbook revision last year. Throughout that time, as we've needed to make some edits, we have done that. Our last edit to the handbook was last November. So what is in front of you tonight is our changes to the November approved edit. There are 24 changes that we're recommending. I'm happy to walk through each of those if you'd like, or answer specific questions about ones that you might have in front of you. I do know that you all received it at the time of the meeting. Would you like me to walk individually through them?
Please.
Okay. The first is just a title change. We're changing my title in the handbook from Human Resource Director to Director of Human Resources. That's just throughout the book. As it relates to employees, there's a section 3.2C is the referral bonus. Now, we started that last year. You all approved that. A number of our employees have taken advantage of that. This is where if they refer somebody for a job, they get hired, and they stay through the period. That employee who referred them gets a $100 bonus. We are clarifying this to state that only one referral bonus will be paid. We've had numerous occasions where an applicant has listed multiple employees. So we needed to, which is fantastic that everybody's talking about that role, but we needed to clarify that it just is one referral bonus per job. And so when there's multiple people listed, we'll reach out to the candidate and ask them who was the first employee that referred you to the job. And then we'll assign the referral bonus to that person. Number 3 is section 3.4C. This is on personal relationships. This change is to remove the obligation of the employer to disclose of that relationship. It previously was that they could share that with their supervisor, manager, city administrator, or the HR department. It's now going to be only the HR department in writing so that we have that. Also, there is a line that has been added to the end of that paragraph that says, failure to do so could result in disciplinary action up and including to termination of employment.
Is that for new hires or existing?
All employees.
All employees.
All employees. Number 4 is section 4.7. It's a change to the probation period. I've had lots of discussions with the police chief and the fire chief about a discrepancy in our handbook. All of our city employees have a 90-day probation period. At day 91, they are eligible to participate in our retirement plan, and also they're eligible to use their vacation time and PTO and some things that are accrued but held until those 90 days. The problem with that is in the public safety divisions, their academies, their recruit training is much longer than 90 days. And so often a new police officer or a new firefighter would reach the day 91 for the city and still have many weeks to go in their training. So you'll see it there under number 4. It outlines that police and fire will have a 12-month probationary period. The city incentives will still be in place. So that employee will still be able to participate in retirement on day 91. They'll still be able to use their vacation and their PTO, except their probationary period for initial employment in police and fire will be a 12-month period. Number 5 is section 5.2. This is in regards to resignations, and the one change that we're proposing there is that we're going to remove the word sick, meaning that once you resign from your role, currently under the handbook, you're not permitted to use any time off during the time that you have left. What I think is most fair to employees is they can't necessarily always control if they get sick, and we don't want them to be at work when they're sick. So removing that allows them to use sick time for appropriate reasons during that resignation period. Number 6 is section 5.4 on retirement. This section spoke about the length of time that HR would need to process a retirement, and we're removing the 90 days and making it 60 days. Number 7 is a request for pay reclassification. This is a small change. We're eliminating in that particular paragraph the wordings related to he and she and saying they, and his and her is simply there. Just a small change for that particular section. Number 8 is section 7.5. This is on pay rates for changes in status. So this is a practice that the city has been doing long before I got here, in my time here, which is when an employee promotes to an internal job that's at a higher grade, we have been giving them a minimum 6% increase in their pay. We just never had that documented. So we're adding that language to section 7.5 now so that it's formalized, so everybody receives that minimum. Number 9 is section 8.1. This is on the employee evaluation system. There's a change to that paragraph that simply we're adding the words "and assistant city administrator will perform an annual performance evaluation." Why that distinction? The previous paragraph stated that the city administrator did all of the evaluations for department heads. The reality is, city administrator has department heads that report to him, and the assistant city administrator has department heads that report to him. So we wanted that clarification just so that when there was responsibility to be had, it was appropriately stated in the handbook. Number 10 is section 8.2. This is on hours of work. We are adding the TCA state law that mandates that any non-exempt employee who works greater than 6 hours is required to have a 30-minute lunch break or uninterrupted time off. And we needed to add that. We've had some concerns arise in our city on that, so we added the TCA so we were compliant with the state law. Section number 11 is section 8.5. This category is on workplace safety. As the Director of Human Resources, I'm also the safety manager for the city, and so we're just adding language that allows me to do those roles or my designee. So presently, Leah Presley in my office handles the safety committee and the month-to-month safety operations. Number 12 is section 8.7. This is on personal appearance. There's 2 changes to this section. One is that we have altered or proposing an alter to the language that would allow the uniform to consist of safety boots or safety shoes. So in some conversations, particularly in our public works department, some of those roles can be accomplished with safety shoes, like safety tennis shoes, and not necessarily safety boots. The important factor there is the hard toe area that would be protected for a fall or being run over by something. So they make those in boots and shoes now, so we simply are formalizing that in the handbook that allows them to have that alteration to their uniform plan. And then section 8.7 is also a practice that's been in place but hasn't been formalized, and that is that the city administrator has authorized each Friday or the last day of the work week to be a casual dress day. So this past year we've had a number of questions when we've had holidays. Employees will say, there's a holiday this week, and so our last day is Thursday. Can we wear casual clothes or not? So just to eliminate all the back and forth questions, we're just, again, formalizing that under section 8.7.
Andrew, just
yes,
to
sir.
back up
Yeah.
to the safety, does the city going to buy those safety shoes for the employees?
So it's my understanding, and I'll defer to both finance and Michael Dietz, but my understanding is there is an allotment of money that's provided for safety boots. My recommendation would be is that the allotment of money would stay the same. They could either apply it to boots or shoes, or if they find something that's affordable, boots and shoes, but they'll have the same amount of money.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Number 13 is section 10.2. This is on leave records. And there's a change happening, right? You all approved an HRIS system, which we're really, really looking forward to launching, and the implementation process is intense, but going very well. Part of that change is that the payroll clerk is going to be an HRIS administrator and payroll employee. And so Section 10.2 simply relates to the written documentation that employees bring in related to time off. That's been turned into finance in the past. We want that turned into HR, and that will be formalized in this paragraph. And number 14 is section 10.3 on vacation leave. And this particular change relates to employees who are on administrative leave. They will no longer accrue vacation time. Let me make sure you understand the variance there. This is not paid administrative leave. This would be cases of unpaid administrative leave or short-term disability or long-term disability. In those two cases, they're receiving compensation from our insurance vendor who handles those disability payments. To accrue vacation time, you really need to be in a paid working status. And when you're on unpaid leave or on disability, you're technically not in a paid working status. Any other questions on that one? I know it could be complicated. Number 15 is 10.3B. This is changing and adding a vacation requirement that the employee needs to request a vacation day off at least 24 hours in advance. This helps us on a couple of fronts. Number one, our leaders can plan staffing better when they know someone's going to be taking vacation. Typically, but not always, employees don't take vacation in a single day unless it's tied to a weekend. They'll take it in multiple days. But one of the things we wanted to avoid is that, as a city, we have various time banks that people can use, and they're quite generous, right? So they can use their comp time, they can use their PTO. Vacation should be a planned use. And one thing we want to help control for a staffing perspective is that instant use. Like, don't want to come into work today, so I'm just going to put in a vacation day. And so we're asking for a 24-hour notice to use vacation time. Employees can still use their comp time immediately. They can still use their PTO immediately as approved by their directors. Number 16 is section 10.3D. There's just a small tweak to this section, which is changing wording from 2 weeks to 14 calendar days, and changes the waiver of notice only to the city administrator. Again, that particular paragraph had multiple people that could approve that, and then just for consistency of application, having that be the city administrator approving those waivers. Number 17 is section 10.4. This is on sick leave, and 17 and 18 kind of go together. So in 17, we're changing and clarifying, removing language related to bereavement pay and putting it in the bereavement section, which you'll see at number 18. There we are adding language from section 10.4 related to extended family. So I want to talk about this one just for a second. I've had a number of employees this year ask about, do I get days off when my aunt or my uncle, my niece or my nephew die? Well, in our handbook, our bereavement, the primary paragraph is tied to our definition of immediate family. And in our handbook, our definition does not include aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews. However, kind of deeper in the handbook, and this is where we're making the change, there is language related to extended family, specifically aunts, uncles, current aunts and uncles, and current nieces and nephews. And this will give employees 1 day off of bereavement pay, whereas immediate family is 3 days off. So we're kind of combining some sections that were in different parts into the bereavement category. Hopefully employees, that will be easier for them. They're looking in one spot and seeing immediate and the extended definitions. Number 19 is 10.15. This is on court leave. This request came to me specifically from a number of police officers, and so we're clarifying that employees will not be requested or required to use vacation, PTO, or comp time to cover shifts during city-involved court cases. So, simple thought, right? In your job, you're being subpoenaed to go to court. If you have to flex or adjust your schedule because you're working shift work to show up to court at 8 a.m., you shouldn't be charged time to flex your schedule. We should just flex or cover that because that's a service to the city. So we're changing our court leave policy to reflect that. Number 20 is section 11.6 on payroll deductions. Again, this is a small change that we're asking employees to turn in any deduction-related information directly to HR, and we will store those in the personnel files as opposed to the payroll clerk. Number 21 is section 13.2. This is on disciplinary guidelines. There's a paragraph in our current handbook that talks about suspensions, and we're removing language from this paragraph that says suspension should be for 1 to 3 working days. The reason for that is that every case should follow the matrix of progressive feedback, and not every case is going to fall in a 1 to 3 day window. And so we wanted to remove that so we weren't locked into that. Also, we're removing language that any employee receiving a suspension is going to be placed on a 6-month work review status program. Quite honestly, we just simply don't do that. And so it's in the handbook now. When an employee receives a suspension, they serve that suspension, they come back to work, they're not placed in a performance review plan. And so we're just removing that as a practice that we just simply don't do. Number 22 and 23 are on our drug testing programs. I'll let you, it's fairly lengthy, but I'll summarize it for you. Section 15.2A is adding the word safety-sensitive positions. This is specifically related to municipality drug testing in the state of Tennessee, which can only be done for safety-sensitive positions and not the general employee population base. And then 15.2C, we have rewritten numbers 4 and 5, specifically spelling out that our drug testing is done not by us, but by a third-party company who handles the random pulling of which employees are tested. They handle the process of the testing, all of the results, and the verification. We simply hire them to do that. We don't do that work ourselves. And number 24 is section 15.3 on what substances are tested and how they are tested. And the change of this section is simply a reformat, adding the subsections of what items we actually test for in our random drug tests. So I'm sure the room is thrilled with that long explanation, but there's some really important things that I think in there help our employees and some things that help our leaders as well as we lead people every day. Any questions on any of those things?
Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Number 13, motion to award the bid for the construction of the Public Works and Community Development Services facility. I'm going to ask Kyle Brown and Evan, if the two of y'all can kind of take this. We've got, I know, a lot moving with it, so if y'all could kind of brief the board.
Basically, the board awarded the bid to Austin Construction Company. We have been trying to, for a while now, enter into a contract with that, or with them. They've was participating in everything, so everything was going good. It's just that there was a few things that we could not get worked out. In all, after we went through the negotiations, we could never enter into a contract that was agreeable to both parties. So since we could not get that worked out, our recommendation is to go with the next bidder, which is Vergne Construction. And I will say that we have had talks with them, and they are willing to sign the contract as is. So everything seems to be fine with them on that front, unless something's changed in the last few days, but I don't think so. I believe they're ready to go.
And I just don't want that coming back to bite us. You've had any dealings with Vergne Construction? They good company.
I feel like they are. I've not had any, dealings with them. We've not had a lot of building projects, here in the city. So some of these contractors that are, doing mainly buildings, we've not had a lot of dealings with. But I know that the architect that we hired to do the plans has done a lot of work with them and spoke highly of them and has not had any issues with them, and was really excited that, that they bid again and potentially could be awarded. So I don't foresee a problem, but you never know.
And all the legality stuff, Evan, is good?
Squared away.
And Evan, it is still considered a valid bid?
Yes, sir, it is.
Any other questions? Moving on to appoint or remove board and committee members. First up, we've got the Beautification and Arts Advisory Committee. We have been notified that one member, Samantha Gee Rourke, has moved out of state to Kentucky. We've tried reaching out to her. She's not responded. In order to begin advertising an opening on this committee, she must first be removed. Once removed, then we can start advertising this position. We have had one resident come in and apply for it on her own, and that information's in your packet, Laura Ward. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we've got the Greenway Advisory Committee. We've got 2 terms expiring. Both members do want to remain on the committee. That's Laura Davidson and Mary Jane Skinner. This is being advertised, but we have not received any applications so far. Next, we have the Historical Preservation Advisory Committee. We've had 1 term open where Chuck Isbell had resigned. It's been advertised, and if we don't receive any applications by Tuesday's meeting, we will remove this from the agenda. Next, we have the Laverne Industrial Development Board. We've got 1 term vacant. Brent Turner has moved out of the city. We have 1 applicant, Graham Coates, and we have to start advertising that on Channel 3 and social media. Next, we have the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. We've got 2 terms up. We've got Felicia Anderson and Rick Autry. Rick Autry does want to remain on this board, but Felicia Anderson does not. So we've been advertising these positions and not had any other applicants. Next, we have the Stormwater Appeals and Advisory Board. We've got 2 terms vacant. We've been advertising this on Channel 3 and social media. If we do not have applicants by Tuesday, that will be removed from the agenda. And then just an FYI for next month, for the Economic Development Advisory Committee, we have 3 terms that expire at the end of June. That is Graham Coates, Nathaniel Holzman, and Daniel Pack. We will reach out to all of them to confirm if they would like to remain on this committee, and we'll also start advertising that on social media and on Channel 3. But this will not be on the agenda for Tuesday night. With that, we've got Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Waldron.
I want to remind everybody this warm weather is here. Make sure you check on the elderly. Make sure your pets have ample shade and fresh water.
Thank you, sir. Alderwoman Hobbs.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm very excited to see you on Saturday, Donna. Me and my family are going to come out. Just please attend the library event. They put a lot of hard work into that, and it's always, anytime with Donna is a great time. So, and we had a pretty tragic weekend out on the lake, so I just want to encourage everybody, some boat safety reminders. Please wear your life jackets, stay hydrated, and be safe out there.
Alderwoman Haas.
Just to add on to the staying hydrated, people are out mowing their yards and doing yard work and stuff. So remember, drink water while you're out doing your own personal things.
Vice Mayor, no.
I had the pleasure of taking a short tour of BJ's yesterday. Got my card, so founding member card, whatever that means. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be good for the city. So if you plan on joining, I would highly suggest you go up there before the grand opening, because I got a feeling it's going to be jam-packed.
Yes, sir.
Do we know the date of that grand opening?
That's what I was just about to get to.
Sorry.
No, you can tell it. Thank you. I'm done.
Well, first off, Ms. Anna, we will be there as well. So definitely look forward to another fun year for summer reading. And I want to thank HR for all the revisions. There's a lot of work, and I know there's a lot we've put on you since you've come in, Andrew, you and your team. So thank you and your team for all the hard work. BJ's, we will be opening up, or we have the ribbon cutting for BJ's Wholesale on Tuesday, the 13th, that afternoon. And so Staff will be reaching out to the board with what time and where to be. It will be the ribbon cutting, a tour, and then on the 14th, it will be open to the general public as normal. So I believe their gas pumps opened up today. So if you need gas, you can go through them to get gas. So that's just another big success for our economic team. We all just got back from the ICSC Recon Convention, had a lot of meetings with a lot of potential business to come into the city, and things look optimistic. People weren't asking, as they have in the past, of Laverne, where's Laverne? What part of Tennessee is that? They know Laverne, they know where it's at, and we're able to build from there. So the future looks bright. With that, call this meeting adjourned.